So here we go, felons. It's the next day, and we're gonna keep this DoorDash and felon thing going. Behind me is Fantasy Tacos. I'm gonna pick up some tacos and I'm taking them to New Orleans. Tristan is hungry. We gotta get Tristan his tacos. Let's do it, felons. Come on. So we got Tristan's tacos, Fantasy Tacos, and we're about to head back to New Orleans. I know a lot of West Bank to New Orleans trips, but Fantasy Tacos was on a couple food critics YouTube channels. So Fantasy Tacos has kind of got a little following. So a lot of people tend to see what they see on YouTube and they go with it and they want to order it. So Fantasy Tacos in Gretna has a little following. So that's what I'm bringing. Here we go. So we're sitting in rush hour traffic. Not quite. I would say rush hour traffic is going to be around 3 to 6. Right now, you know, we're right around 2 o'clock, a little past 2 o'clock, by 2:15. And the DoorDash app has already taken us into semi-rush hour traffic, getting ready to become rush hour traffic. So after I make this trip to New Orleans, it would have to be a real good offer to get me to come back to New Orleans. And that's it. I'm waiting for this person, and as you can see, they're doing construction work at the top, and I gotta wait right now for this dude to come out here to get the food. So we finally leaving our first DoorDash, $11.62. Roughly took me probably about an hour, roughly give or take. By the time I get back to my zone, it wasn't worth it. It was not worth it to come to New Orleans, to Loyola University campus, to drop off Fantasy Taco to Tristan. And then I had to wait because the person who was coming to get it had to come all the way down from whatever class they was in and then come down. See, now I'm passing up. See all this stuff? You got cones, you got traffic, you got construction, you got university traffic. You got to deal with all that to drop off Fantasy Taco. And then I was waiting and I'm looking for Tristan. I thought Tristan was a dude, but Tristan was a girl. So I didn't even see Tristan. So that took a couple extra minutes, you know, more wasted time. Everything is wasted, but I still kept a good attitude. You got to keep a good attitude when you're door dashing. So I handed her the food and said, had a blessed day. And now I'm heading back into my zone. It's difficult to be a DoorDasher when as a convicted felon, when you really want to make more money, but you got to keep a good attitude. I accepted the offer. Now I'm heading back to my zone. I don't think I'm coming back to New Orleans till after 6 or 7 o'clock. Too much going on, too much traffic. I'm out. I just want to take a moment to explain why the $11.62 offer really wasn't worth my time for a lot of different reasons. So if it would have just been a smooth trip, immediately I ran into traffic crossing the G&O. I missed my exit, so I had to get off on the other exit, which has sent me all the way around. So when I did that, sent me in more traffic. Then not just the traffic wasn't the issue, but you're talking about New Orleans. The streets are brutal. Even the main streets got potholes, but when you get off on them side streets and the GPS takes you that way, it starts leading you to streets where the potholes in the street is almost undrivable. Then you get somebody in front of you who's too scared to take the turn, and you wait an extra 4 or 5 minutes just for them to get brave enough to turn. They shouldn't be driving, so that can happen, right? Then on top of that, I got the drink, because the person ordered a drink, right? The drink shaking everywhere, and it's not one of those cups where they seal it all off, so you like, man, the drink is spilling my truck, you know? Yeah, can I put it in the box? But if I put it in the box, it's definitely going to spill because my cup holders do better. But I can set it on the ground by the floor mat because I got the cup holder, little red tray you probably seen. It was just a whole lot of stuff involved. Now I'm heading back to the West Bank, and you got to keep that in mind. You know, you got to keep the wear and tear on your vehicle too with the potholes. So maybe is it good to get an old beat up vehicle? You see some people door dashing in some serious beat up hoopty type vehicles that really shouldn't be on the street, and you look inside of it and they don't even clean it, but they delivering your food in it. I've seen cars that got roaches and ants living in them because the people didn't clean the car, right? And so you get somebody like that who's filing wild, and then they delivering your food. You know, I'm delivering the food in a nice vehicle, but I got to think about wear and tear. The people who got them beat up vehicles, they don't care if they get their ram into something, don't care, right? But then your food's in there. So it's something to think about. There's a lot to think about when it comes to door dashing, but it is a blessing opportunity to be able to do it but you just got to be careful and know what you're doing. I don't have enough experience in it yet. I'm still gaining. I'm only a few weeks in, but I'm telling felons that it's from my advice now is definitely give DoorDashing a chance, right? If you're a convicted felon and you're looking for getting some work experience and just a way to make some money and to stay positive, I think it's worth a shot. And I think you could make money on it, but you got to figure out what you're doing. I'm going to deliver a spud, a potato, and it's in my truck right now from the potato spot. I ain't never even seen that place. It's around the corner from me. But this potato is smelling so good that I ain't gonna lie. I want to eat a potato. I want to eat a stuffed potato.
For a half mile.
So have you ever had that happen when you're doing DoorDash? The aroma that's in the truck is making you crave whatever it is. That's where I'm at right now. Let's go drop this potato off before it gets me in trouble. Just got rid of that potato. Just got rid of that stuffed potato.
In a quarter mile,
now,
turn right onto
I'm
Vulcan
going
Street.
to pick up some Papa John's pizza. Here's the thing. If you ever get tempted as a DoorDash driver to eat somebody's food that don't belong to you, you really need to reevaluate what you're doing. You should bring a sandwich with you. Bring a bologna or ham sandwich with you in case you get hungry, eat that. You know, but do not ever get to the point to where you're so tempted by the aroma in the car that you start eating your customers' food. Because let me tell you something. If you're a felon and you're a convict and you're doing this to get your life in order, you know if you was in prison, you wouldn't dare mess with nobody else's food because you get shanked. So you don't want to mess with no other man's food.
Vulcan Street.
Keep your fingers on the steering wheel. Do not reach in the bag and try to grab a fry or shrimp. Don't do it. Stay focused on the task at hand.
Turn right
Be
onto Lapalco
a
Boulevard.
good DoorDasher, deliver the food, and at the end of your shift, listen, go get you a baked potato or some shrimp sandwich, shrimp po' boy. But don't mess with nobody else's food, man. Look, we're going to get this Papa John's and we're going to make this next delivery. Felons, we're doing it. We're making a little money. Things got busy for me all of a sudden, you know. The first one to New Orleans all the way to Loyola University, that was a no-go. But now I'm in the zone. Now I'm going to be where I'm going to be, within a 6 and 5 mile radius. Here we go.
Turn right onto Lapalco.
Just made it to Papa John's. We're about to go get this pizza and make the next delivery. Look, this is something else you want to be aware of when you're DoorDashing. Watch where you park. I had to get out and maneuver myself around these bushes. Watch this. Look, see? I got to get like this to get in and out of my car. So you got to watch where you park when you're DoorDashing. Don't be stupid. Find the right place to park. Look at that. I'm thinking about coming back and getting a price check on that. I'm a DoorDashing that bad boy right there. All I need to do is to work. It's a classic. I'm going to get that for the DoorDash. Drop my Chick-fil-A on that. Put a Chick-fil-A sign. DoorDash. Look here. We were in a coastal canal. We're by the intercoastal canal.
In a half mile,
on the
turn
west
left
bank.
Onto Leicester Street.
See all them barges on them boats? If you an ex-convict and you DoorDashing, go get your TWIC card because you really need to get out there in that water. That's where you're going to make all your money. All right? Believe what I'm saying. DoorDash to oil field. That needs to be your goal. Set a goal so you can be successful. All that you see is all work. All them cranes, that's all work. That's all barges right on the other side of that wall. That's where you need to be as a convict. It don't matter. Do what you got to do to get over there. Get your TWIC card. Get away from that Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is just temporary.
Turn left onto
DoorDashing in the middle of the night, heading deep into the swamp. I'm talking at the bottom of the country. You can't get no further. Almost in Lafitte. Going toward Barataria. Rougarou behind chicken wings and ranch french fries. That's right. You don't see nothing. You wouldn't be surprised right now if a coyote, a deer, possum, raccoon, or a rougarou jumped in front of the road right now. DoorDashing. That's right. We're going in the swamp. So when you're DoorDashing, you really need to pay attention to the orders that you get. Just because you see $12, $15 or whatever, don't just get excited and hit accept. That's kind of the trap that I kind of got myself caught into. And I've gotten better with it since I started, but I still do it. I just did it now. I didn't pay attention. I saw somebody at Outback Steakhouse right around $13 order. I'm like, yeah, that's good. You know, it's going to stay on the West Bank. That's fine. But now I got to drive it to New Orleans, which don't make no sense to me. Look, to each their own. But I would never, ever, ever order Outback Steakhouse if I lived in the middle of New Orleans. You know how many restaurants they got in New Orleans? Why in the world what I pay. Probably this is probably said and done. They probably paying $50, $60, $70 for this order, and $75 for Outback to get delivered. That ain't worth it to me. But listen, it's whatever each person wants. For me, it's a no-go. Look, you can't hardly see me, but here I am trying to show y'all ex-convicts and felons that you can still do this. Even though this is a long order and it's crazy, so it's a long way for me to go, I'm still gonna do my best to give my man Jude his food, right? His Outback Steakhouse, his $75 Outback steak. I'm gonna do my best to make sure I get it to him in a legit amount of time, and I'm gonna make sure his food stays safe. I got it in a clean container in the back of my truck, you know what I mean, back seat, and I got his drink in my personal cup holder with the tape on it and a straw. So I'm gonna make sure Jude gets his issue right. But you gotta look at the app before you hit okay. Make sure you're good with it. Listen, I don't really want to deny no orders, but it's not feasible to do DoorDash and accept every single order. I'm starting to realize that I thought maybe if I can, you know, unaccept about one order a night, that would be good, but that's not feasible. You might have to unaccept half of those orders for it to be legit. So you really got to think things through before you hit accept, right? You got to make sure you can make money doing this, because if you're spending more money than you're making, it's just not worth it. Well, we're on our way to New Orleans. We're going to Broadway Street. I know where that's at. So it's going to take us about another 15, 20 minutes to get there. And we're going to make $13. And I'm not staying in New Orleans. That's another thing. I'm going to go to deliver in New Orleans, and I don't want to be DoorDashing in New Orleans right now. So I'm going to want to come back across the river, and I'm going to have to cross the river again. That's lost time. But anyway, we do what we got to do. And look, keep a positive attitude and just try to get better at what you're doing and improve it a little bit each time. Come on. Yep, driving in New Orleans, coming off of Claiborne Avenue, on the Claiborne Avenue, should I say, and going to Broadway Street to deliver that Outback Steakhouse. Let's do Outback tonight. That's what Jude said. So I got to get Jude his Outback at all costs. Look, 9 o'clock at night. Convicts, when I was coming up, we used to rip and run around here doing the wrong thing. I was doing stuff I didn't have no business doing. Now, I'm delivering Outback Steakhouse and steaks to Jude. So let's see how it goes. I got to get Jude his steak. Or his, I think he got them Aussie fries. Because when I went to pick the steak up, they told me, they said, hey, look, you got to wait. We waiting for them fries. I said, all right. It took him 10 minutes to get them fries ready. So that means his steak was ready before his fries. And that steak was sitting in there. He got that medium pink. That's what it said on the steak. And so now we're going over there. And I'm going to get this to Jude. So we're going to talk once I get it over there. Just made it to the Popeyes. I decided to stay in New Orleans. I'm at the Popeyes right around the corner from where I used to live, uptown New Orleans. This is a crazy Popeyes. There's about 10 cars in line. I just took 2 orders. Let's see how crazy I am. I'm going to go inside. Wish me luck. It could be crazy over here. They used to be fighting for them chicken sandwiches at this Popeyes. But I'm going to go in there. I'm just picking up. I'm just a pickup man. That's all I am. I'm the messenger. So hopefully I can get my food quick and get out. You know, I believe that I'm protected, so I'm going to go in here. We'll see what happens. I'm protected because I'm going to go in there with respect, and I'm going to get my respect, and I'm going to get my chicken and put the chicken in the truck. I'm going to bring it to the people. I don't know if I'm crazy or not for staying out here in this zone, but let's see. Uptown New Orleans. Go and get that chicken. Right now, go and get that chicken. Going inside Popeye. We got both our bags of chicken. We're headed to drop them off. Going to see Edwin and Caleb. Hopefully we get that chicken to them quick. It wasn't too bad. So it's been all right so far. So we'll see if I made a good decision by staying in this zone uptown New Orleans. Like I said, I much prefer being closer to my house. But let's roll. Look at the streets in New Orleans. Look. I'm like I'm an off-road vehicle. Good thing I got a truck. The streets are bad. We in Holly Grove right now, delivering that chicken. So we're going to get it. Let's see what happens. All right, I just dropped off both bags of Popeyes. Caleb was my last one. I had to come to Xavier University. I'm familiar with Xavier University, so that works out a little bit because my wife went to university here. She graduated undergraduate and graduate programs here. So I'm familiar with it. But now, Look, we used to live right around the corner from here. Like I said, I lived uptown New Orleans. I'm done with New Orleans. I'm done with uptown. I moved to the West Bank. I'm heading back to the West Bank. I'm getting up out of this zone. And look, Popeyes, it seems like when I went into Popeyes to pick up the meals right there uptown, they had looked like the board was full. So they busy over here. They got some money to be made, but I'm not ready to mess around right now. I'm ready to head back on the other side and see what I can get my nickel and dime, you know, be appreciative as a felon for the money I can make as I figure out how this system works. But I'm jumping back on the G&O and I'm going back to the West Bank. Waiting at the rallies. This is one of the worst places when it comes to waiting for food. You gotta wait a long time. Here we go. I'm done, calling it a night. Just dropped off my rallies order. Actually, it was $3.50. Yeah, $3.50 again. But anyway, let me know what you think about this little series I got going on about felons doing DoorDash and just going through the day and life of a DoorDashing felon. And is it worthwhile? Giving you some feedback, my thoughts on it. You can see what I'm going through, how much money I'm making, etc. And if this is something that interests you as a felon or as an ex-convict or somebody who watches prison and crime-related content, do you like this DoorDashing episodes that I've been doing? You know, share in the comments below. And give a like and subscribe to the Pen and The Shank. I'm heading home to get some rest. I actually got to wake up tomorrow and go all the way across the lake, which is about an hour away from my house or so, just so I can get proof that a charge that I caught in 1995 that I've been finished with is really done, because a company that I'm trying to get a provisional license for is asking for it. So that's what I got to deal with tomorrow. So we'll see about that. Maybe I'll even do something on that. But give me a like and subscribe, and thanks for watching the Pen and the Shank. Let's get it.